2, 1, you're alive.
Hello, everyone, and hello to our guests today. My name is Anisha, and I am a volunteer at Wiki HR Council Karnataka. A very, very warm welcome to all of you to our first live session. Before we start, let me give a quick introduction to who we are and what we stand for. Wiki is Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and this organization helps and boosts, builds women entrepreneurship through various businesses, through engagements, and actually has multiple women from various walks of life. There's a collective strength of close to 250,000 members who are spread across 120 countries. Now, Wiki Karnataka Human Resource Council, it is a part of the Wiki body, and this is an ambitious initiative which is initiated by my very dear friends Shikha Gupta and Shilpa Pruthi. Before we start, let me set some context. We all know that we celebrated the National Technology Day on the 11th of May. And with the times that we are in, we know that technology is not limited now to engineers and scientists because that's what the day was known for. But in today's time, we live and breathe technology every day. And a perspective then to that topic is about the changing education system, especially during the pandemic, during these difficult times. And when we say something like, what does it mean to be from going from text to tech or going from note to net? What better way to actually speak to two of our people who actually live this journey, which is maybe a student and a teacher. So today with us in our studio, we have Ma'am Beulah Nathaniel. She's going to join us very soon, who is a teacher at Brookfield High School and also a principal for some of the sections there. Also, we have Dave, who is a student of DPS Pune and who's just crossed his class 10 and he's now in class 11. Dave is a pianist and he's also hooked to stock trading. Wow. And I also know that he's learning his way to coding. That is really, really commendable. So maybe I can, till ma'am joins us, maybe I can ask Dave if you would like to introduce yourself and just give me your thoughts on how has the last 1.5 years been for you as a student dealing with technology?
Well, as you said, I do study in DPS Pune. I'm in class 11th, and today my vacations have started. So for the next month, I don't know what to do because I'm going to be locked up at home. And this last 1.5 years of online school has been both fun and tough also because fun because well it's online. I don't really have to be in accordance to school rules and I don't have to follow every single small little things that each and every teacher wants us to do. Like some teachers will tell us sit straight, some teachers will tell us roll down your sleeves, so I don't have to do any of that. But it's also tough because learning is hindered in some ways, is because obviously in the online way, I mean, teachers can't get their points across. Like even I can't get my point across right now, but that's just how it is.
So what was like, how did you really cope with it? Because I'm sure you moved from class 10 to class 11, so you would have studied hard enough and all through the online exercise. So the basic methodology has changed. How did you cope with that?
Well, our teachers actually helped us cope with the change. They knew that they couldn't get their point across very well in the online and medium, so they started giving us so they started sending us links of online lectures, and they started telling us different um, YouTubers who post videos. Like our Hindi teacher sent us a YouTuber's name called Bhai Ki Padhai, who will teach us all the chapters, and that's basically how we did it. Like video lectures, and teachers used to send us assignments, so that's how we coped.
Very interesting, very, very interesting. So maybe you may also want to tell me a little bit about one big learning or maybe many learnings that you've had as students.
Okay. Well, as a student, the main thing I really learned was that at self-studying really, because as in school, if you meet the attendance criteria, then you've attended enough days to understand all the concepts enough to get by and to do as good as everyone else. But now in online school, most of your meetings are hindered because connectivity issues. The teacher will disconnect, you'll disconnect. So I really had to like learn how to study all over again and completely change my method. And during online school, another learning was that uh, meeting your friends in school and eating food in class, it's much better than eating food by yourself during online class.
I see you talking now. Now you're saying the real thing that yes, you do miss school and you miss the bonding and the friendship that you all have in the school.
Yes, well, it was fun having fun in school is just its own, high, I
Absolutely,
guess.
absolutely. Completely agree on that. But are there any things that, because we know that this is a paradigm shift and this is not going to change very soon, there are going to be many changes which are going to stay with us, and there are going to be some temporary changes. Is there anything from this learning that you think should stay, which you haven't done in the last many years at school and you experienced only now? Do you want to keep them here with you?
Using audio visual aids, I guess, using videos to teach, because there's always a disconnect between the teacher and the student during class. Even in normal classes there is always a small disconnect, but the videos, because they have all those animations and everything, they really explain the topic in the best way that it can. And obviously with that the teacher will supplement the learning in through her information, through her teaching. So it's just so using audiovisual aids is just one great thing in learning online, I guess, and I want to continue.
Interesting. So, when your classes are going on, are you all always compulsorily on video?
No, it depends from teacher to teacher.
And what about the students? Do they want to be on video all the time?
No, no, none of us want to be on video.
But you didn't have a choice when you were in the school. You had to be present in the class and you had to
Yeah,
be facing them. So,
yes,
so
it was either be in class or bunk class and get caught.
wow. So that becomes like you get to escape at least that part, and I can feel that most of the students have started enjoying that.
Yes, it's fun. The teacher not knowing what you're doing, you can and eat in class. You can leave class in the middle if you have some work, and not get scolded for it.
Wow, wow. But okay, one more question to you then. Uh, have your teachers come to you for help in terms of explaining them technology, because they've always been more towards, to giving offline education. So have your teachers come back to you for help?
Yes, I mean, last year, all of us were getting messages from our teachers asking, how do they get host controls of the meeting? How do they kick students out of the meeting if they're misbehaving too much? That, they'd also ask us, how do they present their screen or something, basic issues that, they don't seem to understand all too well, like us. As, but they didn't have too much of a problem with it, but in some places they did, like uploading assignments for us, which we reluctantly help with, and uploading quizzes also.
Wow. So as a punishment or as something, if you were misbehaving in the class, I mean the students, did you get your marks cut, or was it more around that you have to log out of the call, because that's the easiest then?
Well, there were two methods that our teachers used to punish us. The first one would be to mark us absent for the class. So for the whole day, then we are marked absent, so we lose out that whole day of attendance. And the second thing would be the teachers used to just start shouting, and then in the middle of shouting, they would just start saying, "Call your parents now, call your parents now." So our parents, obviously hearing all the noise, they'd come, and then over there they'd say, "Do you know what your child is doing? How shameful is it? How do we say that we are teaching him? He's come to DPS, one of the best schools in the country, and this is what he's doing." So then it would they get
Wow.
rid of all the steps of giving a note in your diary, calling your parents. They'd skip all those steps and get straight to the main point.
Wow, that is interesting, and that brings me to my next question to you. And before that, I can clearly see that technology is not supporting us at all, and Ma'am Beulah is still not able to join us. But I'm finding this conversation between you and me because I've also been a professor once in my time, and I used to be a professor at my MBA institute in Bangalore. So I can, relate with you that what was it to be in the class and what is it to be not be in the class yet be in the class. What about the parents? My next question to you that, seeing you home all day long on your laptops, how do the parents react? How have they coped up with this entire shift?
Well, first it used to be don't be on your laptop for 6 hours straight. Now it's like if you move from your laptop in these 6 hours, you see what happens to you.
All right. Oh my God. That is like some shift which is there. But
I
then the
mean,
6 hours
it's a
goes in
fundamental
studying.
change.
Yes, the
Yeah,
6 hours
six
goes
hours in
in.
school.
All right. I think I need to add her in here. Can the admin give her access, please, and add Beulah ma'am on the from the backstage till here. All right. Till then, maybe Dave, if you can share at least how many friends of yours know that you're here today talking to me online.
Three of them know
Oh,
about
that's
it.
it. That's it. I thought you're going to have a barrage of friends who are going to then talk to you that, okay, what is it that you're going to tell about the school which is good and not good on the online education system?
Well, I did. I mean, I told the first three, and off of their reactions, I found out that's not something to go about talking about because the first two responded like, yeah, yeah, gloat all you want. We know you're going to get disconnected. We know that they'll just start like making fun of you. It's just a prank that they're doing. And then the third one was just like the third one in Hindi told me, "क्या छपरी को बुला रहे वो लोग मुझको बुला लेते."
Oh
So
my God. Oh my God. So friends are always seeing the other friends as somebody who's not up to it and not really there. But I think you're way too smart to do all this. And thank you so much for coming today. I want to ask you one more question. Is that, there are students and their teachers and there are a lot of people like us who've logged in today with us on this call. Is there a message that you think will really help us, spread the word and something that you as a student want a takeaway for the audience?
Um, well, I mean, I'll have to think about that a little bit because I
What
myself
comes top
don't
of
know
your mind?
what I don't know what I want from online education now and what changes I want because even I'm getting used to it, even after 1.5 years. But the main takeaway, I guess, would be to not give too many assignments because all teachers think that online school, so they're just at home, give them as many assignments as you want because we still at the end of the day have 24 hours only, and most of them are just going about and watching TV, so we don't want that time to be taken away.
That sounds so similar. I work in the corporate world and we ask for the same work-life balance all day long. So it's maybe the same work-life balance which goes for students also. And
Maybe
how do
school
you
has been
really manage
corporatized.
that?
Well, I
Yes,
usually
that's a
manage.
nice way of putting it. That's a nice way of putting it. School has been corporatized. Indeed.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying something.
To answer your question of how I manage the school work-life balance is that my parents manage it for me. They tell me what to do and what not to do, and if I don't listen to them, I get punished accordingly. So it's not much of my choice.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really interesting to know. But now that you move to the next class, it's going to be very different subjects. I'm assuming if you want to tell a little bit about that and how will you manage studying online for that? wouldn't you need to go to the school, or uh, maybe go to a lab or somewhere? What subjects do you have? Just tell us a little bit about that.
The subjects I have are history, political science, economics, math, and English. So, um, so for except for actually none of the subjects that I have require lab work or anything. But yes, being in school would be its own advantage because in history and political science, most of our chapters are discussion based. Like right now in history we're doing the beginning of time, so we're discussing about the theory of evolution and the two different theories of human origin, the replacement theory and the regional continuity theory. So it's a lot, so it's a discussion like that. But many a times our teacher gets disconnected during discussions, we get disconnected during discussions. So it's always that, so there's always is ambiguity, I guess, in the whole thing. Like we don't know what's like, even during the discussion, like if you get disconnected, you completely lose track of what's going on.
I agree. I agree on that. And then that's something which we all have to guess live in. But I'm also thinking that, this is the pandemic is not going to leave us very soon. And
Yeah.
if this happens for another year, you still have 2 more years of school right now. Uh, can you already forecast, or can you already foresee if students are supposed to go to school in class 12? Would you be okay to go to school then?
Um, I mean, I would and I wouldn't, because I get to see my friends and I'll get to have fun in class. But I wouldn't also because I personally think that by the time I reach class 12, like, oh, COVID won't really leave us, and the under 18 vaccine I don't think would be made by then, or it would still be going under trials. So I wouldn't be vaccinated for school. So these are just like, so this is what I think would happen, but we never know.
I agree. Maybe because we're talking to you as a student and you're into coding, and coding is something which is now being advertised as one of the most popular fields which they want students to take over much early in their career. Do you see more people taking up this, and then the less need of going to school physically and adapting technology at a much younger age? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
sure when did you start coding and when did you start working online, but the kids who are in junior classes, would they start taking it much earlier now?
Well, I think last year the education bill that came in states that from sixth grade onwards, coding will have to be introduced. So obviously there will be. So obviously, I guess there will be an earlier start to coding, right? Because as we know, parents want children to excel, so they'll obviously start them off earlier, like in the fifth standard or maybe even the fourth standard. But obviously there is going to be an integration of both physical school and online school, because doing through learning online you get to access resources that you never could, because like I have this one teacher who's in oh
Please go on. Please go on. Hello, ma'am. You're on mute. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, good evening. Please go
Good
on,
evening,
please,
ma'am.
Dave. Keep
Yeah, Dave,
speaking.
please go on.
I'm
I'll
sorry I
summarize,
joined
ma'am.
late. Yeah.
No problem, ma'am. I'll summarize for you, and we've had a lot of interesting conversation with Dave, so I'll summarize for you. Yes,
No,
Dave.
I was just listening into the conversation. I think only you were unable to view me.
All
So,
right.
but
Awesome.
please continue. Please continue, please. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
yeah. So there will always be an integration of both offline and online school, because during online school you get to access resources that you never really could. I have a teacher who's out in, I think, Punjab or something, who's teaching me in with offline and physical school. I'd only get resources that are there in Pune, right? I wouldn't be able to go outside of even my district to get classes, but now I'm getting those resources. And and offline school will always be there, because as like I said, there's always going to be a disconnect between the teacher and the student in online school. So offline school will be there for that connect.
Awesome, Dave. Awesome. On that note, I really want Ma'am Beulah to introduce herself and say hi to our audience who've been waiting to see what's going to be the discussion between the student and the teacher. So, if you've heard us, Ma'am, the conversation that we were doing, maybe there could be some thought starters from you that, how have you managed to cope with this entire shift from offline to online education? How are you balancing it all? So, maybe a little bit of summary from you on that.
Yeah, first, the word cope is wrong. We have to teach, and our goals are set because we have to teach, and these are the next generation we are dealing with, and we will never cope with their education. Neither the parents nor the teachers. We do not want to cope. We want to set goals, and we want to realize those goals as to the what do you say, the learning that has to be happening to our next generation. This is teaching is not an just a profession. It calls for dedication, and I'm so happy to listen to Dave speaking. Children have such clear thoughts nowadays, and without their cooperation, without the students community's cooperation, we wouldn't have uh, gone through the past year. you know when we thought what we are going to do as a school to continue the studies for our students, for our children. So when I say students, it includes even my children. So when we sat down and we thought, we first checked the other countries which were previously affected, what they were doing. And fortunately, we were blessed with the technology. We were blessed with technology, though there, because we are in cities, obviously, and we thought, okay, we'll do this, and it was not just a coping mechanism because we sat down for meetings with our management, with our staff members, and we planned out. There has to be a strategy as to how, because classroom teaching is totally different when we are
Yeah.
using technology. And
Yeah.
teachers, there are teachers who are computer illiterates. They don't know technology, much about technology. So we had to plan about training our teachers first, then educating the parents, society, as well as our students. Maybe the latest generation is very good with accessing technology, but you can't say the same thing for the parents. The parents, because
Absolutely.
we are involving parents in this because we need a monitor for our children. We are going to let them into something which we were always afraid to. This internet. We were afraid uh, with that technology to let our children to be exposed to something like that. So we also wanted our parents' thoughts and their cooperation when when we started online teaching, online classes. One main thing was the timing, because children were exposed to looking at the screens, and we knew that this is not good for their vision, their health, eye health. So we had to cut short the timings. So regularly, if it was 8 periods per week for one subject, we had to cut it short to 4.
Wow.
And of course, the boards and everything were helpful. They reduced 30 percentage of the syllabus, and now we had to change our lesson plans. First was the
Wow.
timings, and the second, we had to change our lesson plans. Classroom teaching is different, but online teaching. Luckily, we had resources. These applications came with built-in whiteboards, sharing files, and all such. There were efficiencies, there were plus points, but there were also minus points because some children could not access internet. Somewhere there were, like they've said, that there were connections would go suddenly. There were power cuts. We are still in India. There are power cuts, and the Wi-Fi just switches off somewhere. Somebody's Wi-Fi goes off, and they are totally delinked from the class, even the teacher. And then what happens? So we had to overcome all these negatives also. And we first at first it was difficult. Initially, it was difficult most of the time because we had to constantly check if a child was moving away from the class and he's waiting in the lobby. We had to check that also, and we had to let the child inside the class, and we had to again, go back 2 steps and then explain where we stopped, where the child left off, because every child is important for us, every child
Absolutely.
in the class.
Absolutely.
So we had to take it, the lessons became slower. It had to be slower because our goal is reaching the child and its understanding. So it became slower. This was one main thing. But then, you know, as teachers, we are constantly looking at different generations, and we are changing ourselves. So even this, I think, initially, though it was a little hurdle, I think our teachers coped, and they did excellently well. I would say they did excellently well. So that is to be a teacher, because our
That,
main
that
concern is a child sitting opposite to us. When we look at that child, we think about the future of our country. The future of our country is in our hands. We can't just throw it away like that, and then sit and wail about all the nonsense things happening. So, so there it goes, and we coped up like that. It is not coping, but it was always a strategy, a plan, and we did it. We did it. We did the teaching, and the technology was a plus after some time for us, because we could share so
indeed.
many things with the students, and yeah, so we've completed one whole year like that. Though the
Yeah, it
children,
is. It is a delight. It is a delight actually to see how teachers have been at the front end of making sure that no day goes for a waste. I see it in my
uh,
house. I see it outside. The teachers have been, the warriors to make
yes,
sure, and they took it with both hands, and they made sure that they're running and taking the baton in front. And
yes, exactly.
that's been such a proud moment all throughout. But I also know that this is a journey,
Yes,
and there have been a lot of, there's been a lot of gap also, because just like the teachers are not equipped, the hospitals are not equipped, the students are not equipped, there is a gap which has come into play. I was asking to Dave that, what if he has to go to school 1 year down the line, and
okay.
he'll be used to going doing online school for some time. Oh, will he be okay doing that? But what I understand obviously from him is that yes, he does miss school, he does miss the friends, he does miss meeting people. What is it, ma'am, that you miss most, not being able to go to school?
My interaction with my teachers, there's always a fellowship with our teachers.
Yes,
We are, we share things, we encourage each other, as teaching community. We are not just isolated. We are a community, and just like if you open the watch, a clock or a watch, and you see all those spokes of wheels running, you know right from the gate, right from the office to the last classroom, we work like that. So we need to push each other, like, you know so that is school. That is the working of a school. So
I see so
it is
much
not
pride
like,
in I see so much pride in, when you say that, there's so much pride in that, and it's commendable. Please go on.
uh, I reflect it because my teachers did that. Even in this difficult situation, my teachers rose up to the challenge. Nobody backed down. They said for them, the teaching was important, more important. So they coped up with the technology. They coped up. We had, yes, there were teachers who found it difficult. Some teachers did not even have a Wi-Fi connection, but they had to pay a double to get the Wi-Fi connection because they had to teach, and they did it in this situation, because it is not, that's again I'm saying, teaching is not just any profession.
That's
Teaching is
right.
dedication. Teaching is dedication.
Absolutely.
So if I'm reflecting my pride, then it is because of the hard work of my teachers, who supported me and who have done so well uh, the past 1 year. They've even learned to do their corrections of tests using PDF files and the applications. So we have done it excellently, and we've kept the dates correctly. We've sent the suspense correctly back to the parents. They've done a great job, wonderful job actually.
Wow. So, ma'am, doing so, when I was talking about the gaps, and they, when I were also talking about internet connection and, how it is, there is a disconnection that happens. But has the school, especially your school, which is a very reputed school, Brookfield High and Electronic City, it's a very reputed school. What are the path-breaking changes that the school has done to make sure that, they continue facilitating the online education that you've already been forefronting?
Uh, the first thing is encouragement. The first thing is encouragement. That is what is needed, and we got a copious amount, lots and lots from our management. So our chairman and our director, they were at the forefront. They led us actually with a lot of encouragement, and yes, in many ways, they were always communicating with us. There was always a transparency, and they were always communicating, and the teachers were not kept away from them, from the discussion, and everything went ahead very neatly. And of course, this is path breaking because see, my parents were also teachers, and if I tell them I'm teaching through technology, they are baffled. They're really baffled. Because they have known dial phones, and now they see mobile phones, and they get to know about internet technology. And teaching via mobiles and laptops is path breaking. It is path breaking. Yes, so
Indeed.
that's path breaking. Yes, thank
Indeed.
you.
And in terms of, ma'am, exams, and Dave, maybe if you want to add here, what was the experience of taking online exams? Because see, when you're doing the online classes, there's constant interaction. What about online exams? I see my niece who's a medical student, and they have many exams on a day-to-day basis. So, and it's that their teachers are that students are required to actually show their entire keyboard and to make sure that they are what they are writing is visible. They can't like only show the face, it has to be visible. And it's quite a tedious process that ways, and I understand both sides very well, that it's difficult for the student but it's so important for the teacher also. So Dave, how has your experience been when it comes about taking exams?
Well, before I answer, I'd just like to wish ma'am good evening. And
That's nice.
well, with online exams, the main thing that's been there is my experience has been good, but there have been times where there've been just problems that wouldn't ever occur if we had offline exams. Like I remember one time, I got like I was writing an exam and I had met all the criteria, but for some reason like I kept getting a warning on my screen, kept getting a warning on my screen, and like it almost terminated my exam, right? And when I after my exam, when I found out what's the reason, it's because I had a small little notification that came on a like those notifications that you don't see on your laptop, like of internet connection or something. So one of those notifications came and I forgot to clear it out. So the algorithm that was there, the proctor, it thought of it as some sort of method I was using to cheat it. And obviously, yes, there were people who were using such methods to cheat, but the misinterpretation that happened over there did cause some problems. And with online exams, one main thing was that I have a good internet connection, so I didn't face this problem. But like lots of my friends and lots of my classmates had this thing that if they even disconnected once, the exam would terminate. They could not attempt it again. They could not rejoin the exam. So they had to
Wow.
call the school, write an email, then the school had to go through the website, allow them to get the exam again, and then one time I think our school also had the option to go to school by car And then the school had set up some examination halls, like where four students used to sit, write the exam, give the paper to the invigilator, and then leave. I mean, those things, like especially in COVID times, doing all of this was some problems. Like these were like major problems actually, especially with Pune, consistently ranking in the top 10 most affected cities of not only India but the world at some point of time. So these were issues. Most of them were
I hear
just like
you. Please
technological
go
issues
on.
that were
Yeah.
there. Like most of them were just technological issues that if we were visible during offline class during offline exams, none of these things would have ever occurred. Like getting that notification or just writing something down, and then you look away, just to move your neck or something. So then immediately a warning will come up saying look only at the screen or in the camera. So
There's
these
so much trust. I can hear you, Dev, and there's so much, there's such a balance which needs to be carved out between, yes, the teachers do trust you, but they have to follow some protocols and they have to follow the processes. And I'm sure it must be equally difficult for maybe Beulah ma'am can share that, how would, when you would take exams, what does it really happen? What does really happen?
Actually, what we did was we had assigned invigilators. We did not rely on technology because technology does not trust, but we know our students, and we
Absolutely.
teach our students. Education is not only about learning from the books. We teach them honesty also. So if you are honest, it's good for you, right? And we know
Absolutely.
our students. We know exactly who stands where in the class. We've been teaching them for quite some time. So we know exactly which students stands where, which student's ability stands where. Okay. And if he's really studied or if there has been a dishonest means. So we have assigned invigilators for 15 students when examinations were going on. And then the parents again, they have assured us, the parents, that the child is doing the exam correctly. So that we did not have a challenge there as such, because we knew if some child has done something, and because there were parents who wrote for some younger children, because younger smaller grades. So then we had to just mail them and say, let the child write, because we want the child to write, not forget the writing. you know Many children
Absolutely.
forgot how to write in notebooks, especially the lower grades from 1 to 3. And so we asked the parents to let the children write. It is okay, we don't want a scribe for the child, so let the child write. And the parents cooperated. They monitored their children, because it is for the benefit. The tests were for the benefit of the students. So the tests are not for the teachers. The tests are for the students. How much we just gauging how much learning has happened with the child. So, and what improvements that we can do with the child. So I don't think these also were overcome. There is a hurdle everywhere, and being we are optimistic. We have to be optimistic somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, ma'am.
and yeah. So we
So
did overcome
maybe
that.
I've heard so many positive things, and it's very encouraging for students and for Dave here also. If I may ask both of you one question, that what is that one expectation from the system, or from from your, for the teachers, and for the teachers from the students, that you think could have improved or could have been better as an experience, that because there's a lot of confidence that I see in both of you individually in your own respectable places, but there's always something which you would say that I wish it was like this. So ma'am, from maybe from you first, that one last thing that wish, which is more like a wish of yours from your students, that I wish this also happened.
Maybe security. There were a lot of disturbances that way. Children trying to get in with somebody else's name and trying to misbehave in the classroom. That is a little difficult with the applications. Maybe this, the following year, maybe there will be some kind of a software change with what we are doing. So to overcome that too. So that was a little distracting for the other students. And somewhere we had to call the parents and ask them to monitor the child properly, because so you had parents working from home, and they had their own work to attend to, and this child was just left off in a separate room with the device. And uh, and then nobody is monitoring the child, and it will goes on to its own way, because it doesn't care about the screen, whatever is happening in the screen, and it does its own thing. So we had to call in certain parents and some parents and let them know that this has been happening, and that something has to be done to stop the misbehavior. So even if this teacher is going to call out the names and then the child just disappears, we don't know what is happening after. So whether
Absolutely.
the child, yeah. And there was one instance that the parents had to go for a, for check for something, check up or something in the hospital, and the child was left alone. And after some time, she panicked. She told the teacher that she's so scared. The parents have not returned. And then the teacher called the office immediately, and we had to call the father and ask him to go back and take care of the child. So, if we could have some kind of a security when the parent is not there near the child, more of a security, that will be a plus for us, right? You know, because it's
Completely hear
internet
you.
again.
Completely
Yes,
understand that. Yes,
yes.
ma'am. Thank you. Dave, from you?
Well, for me, it would be to be more interactive, I guess, because teachers, like, they're used to, coming in class, then teaching their subject, and then taking up doubts. But obviously, during online classes, is while they're presenting their screen, they can't see what's actually happening on the the meeting that's going on. Like some people through the
Right.
chat box, they're saying that my mic is not working, I can't ask the teacher this doubt, can someone please do it? So obviously, as ma'am said, that there should be some sort of software that can help both the teachers and the students with this problem of difficulties in the meetings. So like if the teacher can be notified that there's this problem that's happening or something. And like teachers also, sometimes they go past the amount of time that they have to teach, right? So like suppose we have a class that's supposed to end at 8:30 and another class starts at 8:35. The other teacher takes it till about 8:37. So the link that we have to join the other class, it immediately shuts down after 8:36. So we can't join that. Right? And the other teacher, because during offline school, like the other teacher would wait outside the class for them to finish up, and then and they'd come inside. But now we have to explain to the teacher that we weren't trying to bunk her class, or we weren't trying to join in late to disrupt the class. We were actually held up in the previous meeting. So that sort of interaction has gone away, that understanding between the teacher and the student, because both the students don't have complete trust on the teacher now, and the teachers also don't have complete trust on the students, because now it's like the teachers have entered our world, and like it's our now.
Again, when I hear you both, I it just feels like that bond where both the teacher and the student really can't do without each other, and both are hungry for more interaction, no matter how naughty the kids become or how strict the teachers become. A teacher is not a teacher without the students, and a student is not a student without a teacher. So they go
Exactly.
hand in hand. And
Yeah.
we the kind of school life that we had, I can only wish and pray that you as kids, you get to experience that, because this life never comes back. So maybe
Yes.
on that note, we're going to be up with our time, and we will have many questions for you on our chat box, which I think I'm going to mail you, and we'll do a follow up of this. But this was truly a brilliant interaction. If there's any last word in the last 30 seconds which you would like to say, else I would like to sign off from my side. Anisha here again, a volunteer at Wiki HR Karnataka, and proud to be part of this team, and really happy to having this conversation with you both today.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting me over. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I want to just sign off with this. Every adversity is an opportunity for us. Every adversity is an opportunity. I want the next generation to know this. Okay, it is an adversity, it is an adverse situation, but we have to make use of it and make it an opportunity to grow in this. Okay, so that with that, I would like to finish off my chat too. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, Dave, for your
Thank you.
words too.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Isha.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dave. Take care
Thank
and
you.
be safe. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. You too.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.